Hunter x Hunter is one of those rare stories where the main character isn't always the main character. On the surface, Gon Freecss is the face of the series, the bright, optimistic, and energetic adventurer whose boundless curiosity drives him forward in search of his father. He embodies hope, growth, and the thrill of exploration, pulling the audience along with every new challenge, every friendship, and every battle. But then, there's Kurapika, a figure who carries the weight of an entire people's tragedy on his shoulders. He is discipline, trauma, and purpose personified, a storm of intellect and determination whose personal quest for justice can, at times, outshine even Gon's most heroic moments. When you look at Hunter x Hunter arc by arc, an unexpected debate begins to emerge. A question that fans don't discuss nearly enough. Who is the true main character of this story? Is it Gon, the symbol of adventure and emotional growth, or Kurapika, the embodiment of sacrifice, vengeance, and moral complexity? This is more than just a battle of popularity or screen time. It's about narrative focus, thematic weight, and who drives the story at its core. And today, we're going to break it all down, arc by arc, to finally answer the question, Gon or Kurapika? Let's start at the very beginning, by introducing the two central figures whose journeys define much of Hunter x Hunter. On one side, we have Gon Freecss, the embodiment of sunlight and boundless curiosity. From the moment we meet him, Gon radiates an almost infectious energy, approaching the world with a childlike wonder that makes every new experience feel like an adventure. He is fueled by potential, but not the calculated kind. His growth comes from instinct, passion, and relentless perseverance. Gon represents hope, exploration, and the thrill of discovery. In many ways, he embodies the surface essence of Hunter x Hunter, a story of adventure, friendship, and the joy of overcoming challenges. Even at his youngest, Gon possesses a natural strength and an extraordinary aptitude for Nen, hinting at the untapped power lying within him. Yet, it is his heart, curiosity, and drive that truly define him as a main character. On the other side, there is Kurapika. The exact narrative counterpoint to Gon. Kurapika is not defined by wonder, but by loss. As the last surviving member of the Kurta clan, he carries the weight of an entire people's grief and the burden of vengeance. Where Gon's story is fueled by curiosity and instinct, Kurapika's is driven by justice, strategy, and a relentless focus on reclaiming what was stolen from him. He approaches the world not as a playground for discovery, but as a battlefield that must be navigated with precision and intelligence. Kurapika's strength is both cerebral and Nen-based, often relying on careful planning, tactical execution, and the specialized powers he develops to achieve his goals. He is the embodiment of discipline, foresight, and the darker, more serious undercurrents of the series. Despite their stark differences, Gon and Kurapika share key similarities. Both are incredibly talented, both impact the story profoundly, and both are shaped by the extremes of their experiences. Gon's journey teaches us about the power of raw potential and emotional drive, while Kurapika's journey highlights the importance of strategy, resolve, and moral clarity in a world rife with danger. Their roles are complementary, offering two different lenses through which the audience can experience the stakes of the Hunter world. And it is precisely this contrast, the sunshine boy of boundless optimism versus the stoic avenger of meticulous calculation, that makes their dynamic so compelling. The story becomes richer not just because of their individual arcs, but because of the tension and balance between these two very different approaches to being a protagonist. And that, ultimately, is where the fun begins. The story of Hunter x Hunter truly kicks off with the Hunter Exam, a classic shonen-style introduction that immediately establishes Gon Freecss as the heart and soul of the series. From the very first moments, it's clear that this arc revolves around him. His optimism, his boundless energy, his instinctual ability to read situations and people, and perhaps most importantly, his talent for forming connections wherever he goes. Gon doesn't just participate in the Hunter Exam. He becomes the glue that holds his emerging team together, the emotional center around which the other characters orbit. His actions define the pace and tone of the arc, whether it's facing life or death challenges, navigating complex trials, or forging bonds with those who will become lifelong companions. During this arc, several key aspects of Gon's character as a main protagonist are established. His rivalry with Hisoka ignites a tension that will carry through through multiple arcs, highlighting Gon's fearless, determined nature, even when confronted with danger far beyond his experience. At the same time, his connection with Killua begins to form, planting the seeds of one of the most iconic friendships in anime history. These relationships aren't just side stories. They reinforce Gon's role as the central character through whom the audience experiences the world. Every moment of triumph, every moral choice, every test of courage is framed through Gon's perspective, making the Hunter exam not just a trial for the characters, but a narrative device that cements Gon as the protagonist of the series. Kurapika is present during the Hunter exam, and he is certainly relevant. His intelligence, calm demeanor, and emerging skills set him apart from many other examinees. However, his role in this arc is supportive rather than central. He observes, participates, and occasionally assists, but he does not drive the story forward. The trials, the excitement, and the defining moments all revolve around Gon's perspective and actions. In this arc, the audience is living Hunter x Hunter through Gon's eyes. His decisions, his risks, his victories, and his failures define the experience. Kurapika's importance will grow later, particularly as the story explores themes of vengeance, morality, and justice. But in the Hunter exam, it is Gon who claims the spotlight. This arc establishes him not only as the emotional and narrative center of the story, but also as the embodiment of the adventurous, hopeful spirit that makes Hunter x Hunter compelling. Gon is born a main character here, and the world is his to explore. Then comes a bold, almost unprecedented narrative shift in Hunter x Hunter, the Yorknew City arc. Togashi does something daring here. He places Kurapika squarely in the spotlight, temporarily shifting the story away from Gon's journey and letting Kurapika's personal mission take center stage. From the very first scene to the last, it is clear that this arc belongs to Kurapika. Every critical decision, every emotional beat, every turning point in the narrative stems from his actions and motivations. It is here, more than ever before, that Kurapika steps fully into the role of the main character, demonstrating that Togashi is willing to reassign narrative focus to match the thematic weight of the story. The Yorknew City arc is defined by conflict, the Phantom Troop versus Kurapika, a struggle deeply rooted in Kurapika's past and identity. The massacre of the Kurta clan, the theft of the Scarlet Eyes, and the weight of generational grief are all driving forces behind his actions. Every moment in this arc is framed by Kurapika's pursuit of justice and revenge. His moral code, his intelligence, and his strategic prowess dictate the flow of the story. Gon and Killua are present, but their roles are primarily supportive. They engage in side missions, gather information, or protect themselves. But none of their actions have the narrative significance or emotional gravity of Kurapika's decisions. This contrast highlights a crucial storytelling technique. Togashi is using the arc to show that being a main character isn't just about screen time, but about driving the plot and shaping the thematic core of the story. Kurapika's control over the narrative is most evident in the climax. He faces off against Uvujin, strategically chains Krollo, and orchestrates events that create tension and high stakes for everyone involved. Yorknew City is not merely an adventure or a test of raw power. It is a story of tragedy, morality, and revenge, elements that are inseparable from Kurapika's character. The arc examines his limits, his dedication, and the lengths he is willing to go to protect the legacy of his people. The emotional resonance of this arc, fear, anger, determination, and grief, all centers on him, marking the first time in the series where Gon steps aside and allows Kurapika to claim the mantle of main character. Through Yorknew City, Togashi proves that the role of protagonist in Hunter x Hunter is flexible, shifting organically to the character whose story demands the audience's focus. And here, it is unequivocally Kurapika who drives every major beat of the narrative. After the darkness and intensity of Yorknew City, Togashi pivots the narrative back toward adventure, shifting the focus squarely back to Gon Freecss. The Greed Island arc reestablishes Gon as the central figure, reminding the audience why he is the quintessential main character of Hunter x Hunter. This arc revolves around his personal quest to get closer to his father, Gene, and the journey is framed entirely through his perspective. Every challenge, from navigating the complex rules of Greed Island to mastering Nen in a real-world setting, serves as a testament to Gon's ingenuity, determination, and innate talent. His development here is not just about growing stronger physically, but about sharpening his mind, learning strategy, and embracing the responsibilities that come with his extraordinary potential. Gon's actions define the stakes, the progress, and the tension of the story, making it clear that this is his arc to lead. Then comes the Chimera Ant arc, often regarded as the pinnacle of Gon's character development. Not because he is at his most heroic, but because he reaches the deepest psychological extremes. This is a Gon unlike the bright, cheerful boy we first met. Here, he is tested emotionally, mentally, and morally. His naivety collapses under the weight of the horrors he witnesses. His emotional fragility surfaces in the face of unimaginable loss, and his obsession with rescuing Kite becomes an all-consuming drive that overrides rationality. The climactic confrontation with Pitou is emblematic of this transformation. It is not merely a battle, it is a psychological meltdown, a raw and devastating exploration of grief, rage, and obsession. Every strike, every decision, every expression of Gon's power is tied directly to his emotional state, making the fight as much about his inner collapse as it is about combat. In these arcs, Gon is elevated beyond the typical shonen hero. He is no longer defined solely by courage, friendship, or raw potential. He becomes a fully realized, complex protagonist whose flaws, emotional depth, and obsession create tension, pathos, and narrative weight. The Chimera Ant arc, in particular, deconstructs the idea of a hero. Gon's journey is no longer just about adventure or self-improvement. It is a meditation on loss, the cost of vengeance, and the extremities of human emotion. Through Greed Island and Chimera Ant, Gon reclaims his role as the main character of the series, but this time with layers of psychological depth that make him one of the most compelling protagonists in shonen history. Here, Gon isn't just the main character. He is a deconstructed hero, a figure whose brilliance and fragility coexist in a way that reshapes the audience's understanding of what it means to be a protagonist in Hunter x Hunter. Then Togashi does what he does best. He flips the script entirely. The Succession War arc marks one of the darkest, most complex portions of Hunter x Hunter, and this time, Gon is completely absent. He doesn't appear, he doesn't influence events, and the story does not revolve around his journey. Instead, the narrative lens shifts fully onto Kurapika, who becomes not just the main character, but the axis around which the entire arc spins. From start to finish, every critical event, every tension-filled moment, every emotional beat is tied to Kurapika's decisions, actions, and internal struggles. He is confronting the mafia, navigating the treacherous politics of the Kaken princes, and constantly battling the physical and mental toll of overusing his nen abilities, particularly Emperor Time. This is a side of Kurapika we haven't fully seen before, not just a strategist or vengeful survivor, but a fully realized protagonist, carrying the weight of an impossibly complex high-stakes war. The Succession War arc is political, psychological, and intricate, with every narrative thread looping back to Kurapika. His role as bodyguard to Prince Wobble and his strategic manipulation of the criminal underworld demonstrate his intelligence and careful planning. At the same time, the exhaustion and strain caused by prolonged use of Emperor Time, combined with the constant life-or-death tension of his surroundings, push him to the edge of both mental and physical collapse. Unlike the battles of the Hunter exam or Chimera Ant arcs, Kurapika's conflicts are not simply about raw power or instinct. They are about calculation, endurance, and moral judgment in a world where every choice carries consequences. Togashi crafts an environment where Kurapika's intellect, resolve, and nen mastery are the driving forces, making him the unmistakable center of the story. This arc does more than showcase Kurapika as the main character. It proves something remarkable about Hunter x Hunter's storytelling structure. The series is designed to have multiple protagonists, each taking the spotlight depending on the narrative focus. Gon dominates arcs of adventure, growth, and emotional intensity, while Kurapika commands arcs of strategy, vengeance, and political complexity. In the Succession War, Togashi demonstrates that the mantle of main character is fluid, tied not to consistent screen time or presence, but to narrative agency and thematic weight. Kurapika doesn't just participate. He dictates the stakes, drives the plot, and carries the emotional core of the story, confirming that he is, in every meaningful sense, the protagonist of this arc. After tracing the journeys of both Gon and Kurapika through the arcs of Hunter x Hunter, a clear pattern emerges. Each serves as the main character in a distinct narrative space, and each embodies a different kind of story. Gon is the protagonist of adventure, the bright, energetic center through which the audience experiences growth, discovery, and emotional resonance. He is curiosity personified, a character whose innocence and optimism allow him, and by extension the audience, to navigate the vast and often dangerous world of Hunter x Hunter with a sense of wonder. From the Hunter exam to Greed Island and the emotional peaks of the Chimera Ant arc, Gon's narrative is tied to exploration and personal growth. He represents the thrill of the unknown, the beauty of risk, and the emotional highs and lows of a life fully lived. Hunter x Hunter begins with him because his story captures the essence of adventure and the joy of experiencing the world with unbridled curiosity. Kurapika, on the other hand, is the protagonist of tragedy. His narrative is rooted in trauma, responsibility, and the high cost of justice. From Yorknew City to the Succession War. Kurapika's story is defined by moral complexity, political intrigue, and the psychological weight of a past that haunts him relentlessly. Every decision he makes carries stakes that are far more intricate and emotionally taxing than mere physical survival. He is a character whose victories are measured not only by strength, but by intelligence, patience, and sacrifice, and whose losses carry a depth that resonates long after the arc ends. Kurapika evolves the story of Hunter x Hunter into something darker, more layered, and morally challenging, proving that the series is capable of exploring not just the thrill of adventure, but the nuanced consequences of human ambition, vengeance, and morality. So, who is the better main character? The answer depends entirely on the story you want to experience. If your desire is for optimism, energy, wonder, and the joy of discovery, Gon is unquestionably your protagonist. If, however, you crave narrative depth, complex emotional stakes, and morally challenging dilemmas, Kurapika is the more compelling choice. This duality is precisely what makes Hunter x Hunter a masterpiece. Togashi does not force the series into a single perspective, but allows both characters to take the spotlight, using their contrasting experiences to weave one of the richest, most emotionally and thematically layered narratives in anime. Gon and Kurapika are two sides of the same coin: adventure and tragedy, hope and responsibility. And together, they create a story that is greater than the sum of its parts. So, after following these journeys, experiencing the highs of adventure with Gon and the dark, intricate struggles of Kurapika, the question becomes personal. When you think of Hunter x Hunter, who do you see as the true main character? Is it Gon, the bright, energetic heart of the story, who pulls us into every adventure with boundless curiosity and emotional resonance? Or is it Kurapika, the tragic, complex strategist, whose pursuit of justice and survival in a cruel world forces us to confront the heavier, morally ambiguous sides of the series? Both characters are vital, both carry the story in their own ways, and Togashi's genius lies in letting them each take the spotlight when the narrative demands it. Now, it's your turn to decide. Which protagonist resonates with you more? Which journey do you find more compelling? Share your thoughts in the comments. The debate between Gon and Kurapika is one that will never truly have a definitive answer, but that's the beauty of Hunter x Hunter. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the contrasting roles of these two incredible characters, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of Hunter x Hunter. There's so much more to uncover in this world, and the story of Gon and Kurapika is only the beginning.